I was long since gone to the youth division. He called me, I was 48 years old. And he called me very kind. I really, and invited me to come and preach. He was youth president here in Texas. And he invited me to come preach a youth camp in Texas. A couple of years removed from the call, planning ahead. And I said, "Look, Carrington, I'm very honored. You do realize and understand that I'll be 50 when that time comes around." I should never have said it. Because without hesitating, I won't even look at him when I was still bitter. Without even hesitating, he spoke just honestly from his heart. He wasn't trying to be cute. He just was being honest. He said, "Oh no, we know. Our committee talked about it. We want an elder to come in and preach all of it." I had my wife's old little Nathan Carrington doll, and I stick it pins in it. Oh, thank God for these good men. And each year, all the ministry of the United Pentecostal Church has come and gathered, and just so thankful that you're here tonight. Let me direct your attention to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20, I'll begin reading in the first verse, and I recognize the text I'm going to read tonight. It's a little longer, perhaps, than some I would read, but I'll attempt to progress through it rather quickly. You can take comfort. Hooked on Phonics works for me, and I'll try to get through it at a reasonable pace here. Exodus chapter 20 and verse number 1. And look at that. I tried to explain to the church I pastored that we do this for sinners that don't have Bibles, not for Christians that can't find theirs. Anyway, that was Exodus 20 and 1, "And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the house of Egypt, out of the house of bondage." Aren't you glad for that? Now he says, "Because of that, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me." And I'm really glad the Bible doesn't end right there. That next verse starts out with what I need. "And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day, wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor." Because you're such intelligent people, you realize and understand that what I just read to you is what is commonly known as the 10 Commandments. Now, my message title tonight is a little unique, and let me just say that if you have done your best to create an impression with your fellow worshipers that you came out of your mother's womb talking in tongues, you have tried to convince people that are near around you tonight that you have never known anything of the beggarly elements of sin, then please, when I give this title, try not to react, okay? We are not visiting the pool hall. It may sound like it, but we are not playing billiards. We're not the pool hall, okay? But my message title tonight is this: number 10 in the corner. Okay? Just want to be clear. We're not. I'm afraid some of y'all might go, "I know about that." Number 10 in the corner. If you'll smile, you can be seated, but if you're going to be a grump, just remain standing so we'll know who you are. There's a couple of you that just lied, but we'll have time at the altar in a little bit. I tell you, I want to start tonight with a statement that I believe with everything in me, and I sure hope you do too. I will convince you of it even if you don't, but that is this fact: there is nothing like the church. I I want to go on record tonight. You can search the world over and be a part of anything you might ever be. You can be elected to the highest offices in the land and be a part of the most elusive and elite social clubs you'll ever find, but you'll not find anything anywhere that compares to what it is to be a part of the church. Nothing like it. Paul called it a mystery which had been hidden through the ages past but was revealed in the New Testament age. It is such a wonder that the Bible uses various descriptive phrases, different metaphors and similes to try to help us grasp the profound nature of this thing that we come into every week. There is the marvel of Christ having a bride, which is identified as the church of the Lord Jesus Christ. Collectively, folks, we are betrothed to Him, and we are anxiously awaiting the day we sit down at the marriage supper of the Lamb. He's our bridegroom, and we are His bride. Alternately, it is called a building crafted by God, founded upon the message of the apostles and the prophets, with Jesus Christ Himself being the chief cornerstone. But all of us, the Bible says, are lively stones fitted together in this structure. And the Bible says we are built up together as a holy habitation for the Lord. See, the most important building here tonight is not even this beautiful edifice that we celebrate. The most important building is the one that God builds every time He baptizes somebody with the Holy Ghost after they've had their sins washed away. And He gets them into this building that's called the church. It's a bride. It's a building. It is likened to a family in which we are brothers and sisters and God is our Father. And there is a familial care and a unity which arises out of this relationship, wherein we might even disagree from time to time, and we might have a little spat here and there, but underneath it all, we always remember we've got the same daddy, and we've got the same blood, and we've got the same name, and we are a family. It's a bride. It's a building. It's a family. It's a body. The Bible depicts it as a body with Christ as the head, and each of us as members in particular, no two alike, but no one unneeded, all interconnected and valuable until a disparate group of people with different backgrounds and different educations and different incomes and different perspectives and different skin color and different political leanings can lay all that stuff aside out there and say we will walk in here. It's not about how we're different. It's about how we respect. All the divisive lines of society stop when you come to the cross. All of the left and right, all that stuff, that all quits when you come to the cross. We are one. We are a body. I'm just telling you, there's nothing like this out there anywhere. Washington doesn't have an answer for this. I don't care who's in the White House or who's in Congress. Your state government doesn't have a solution. Because 99.99% of all society's problems are sin problems. And there's no governmental remedy for sin problems. That's why this place is the most important place in this city. You've got the only answer. Also looking for it. Since assuming this role that your pastor was so kind to make reference to, of course I was pastoring, but this role is required to be full-time, so I had to resign from the church I was leading, and so I've been jokingly telling folks I'm a recovering pastor. Therapy helps. But I pastored for 15 years in a place that most of you, some have, but most of you have not heard of, called Florissant, Missouri. But we were just 6 miles down the road from a place you have heard of, Ferguson, Missouri. We made the news for all the wrong reasons. And please understand, I am not even about tonight to discuss all the political ramifications of policing policies and all that kind of junk. That can all be debated somewhere else. Here's what I will tell you. When our city was burning, and every expert, so-called expert out there was saying, well, the lines are too deep and the wounds are too harsh and we just can't get along down here. I wish all those educated idiots going to come to our church on Sunday. And folks that lived in the middle of that place came to church, and we ran our buses and picked up kids and brought them in. And when we got to church that day, it didn't matter what your political party was. It didn't matter what. We just grabbed hold of one another and said, "You're my brother, you're my sister, we're in this thing together." And we loved one another and we stood together. I'm trying to tell you, you better love the church because there's nothing else like it anywhere. Here, we rejoice with those that rejoice. And then we weep with those that weep. Where else are you going to find a place where when one member suffers, all the members suffer with it? Or when one member is honored, all the members rejoice with it? And yet that's what this church does week by week. It is this mystery that brings us together tonight to celebrate and rejoice over the completion of this beautiful building. But far more than that, to anticipate and celebrate the plans God has. Not to build a building, but to build a church in that building. I'll say it again, there's nothing like the church. I am going to try to be nice because my wife is not here to help me. But some of you respond to that like I said, there's nothing like church's chicken. Yeah, I agree. Next. Did you hear what I said? There is nothing like church. I just want to brag on the church a little while. This is where you'll find love. This is where second chances are found things. This is where you'll be embraced and loved and forgiven and strengthened. This is where you can come after a long, weary week and have somebody put an arm around you and have been praying for you all week long. This is where we bring our mistakes and find mercy. This is where we bring our disappointments and find hope. This is where we bring our weariness and find strength. There's nothing like the church. In fact, I'll go one step further. I love the church. I love the church. I'll just tell you that for whatever flaws she might have, she's still the best looking girl at the party. Well, now, Brother Graham, you don't know our church. Sure I do. Like every other church. It's made up of flawed people. Well, this church isn't perfect. Of course not. You're here. It's no shock to me. Well, you know, we've got issues. I know. Some of you have so many issues, you've got a subscription, I think. But it's okay. It's just... I'm just telling you, don't talk bad about my mama. I'm a pretty easygoing guy, I think. I like to think I am. I just refuse to go through life offended, okay? I refuse to live my life chip on my shoulder. No, I have time for that. So I just, you know, I really think, my dear brother, if you walked up to me after service and said, "I think you're about the sorriest preacher I've ever heard," I'm not going to be mad. I just feel bad you got such bad taste in preaching. I don't know. I just refuse to live offended, but you can call me a dirty skunk. You can spit in my eye, and I think I got enough Holy Ghost to walk away and go eat brisket. If you walk up and start talking bad about my mom, we're probably going to talk. My 87-year-old mom who still lives alone and can whip most of you. You don't start talking bad about my mama. I'll rise up and we'll discuss this in heated terms. Because that's the lady that gave birth to me. That's who loved me when nobody else did. That's the one that patched up my wounds when I got hurt. That's the one that prayed for me when you didn't even know me. Don't come up to me and start criticizing the church. Don't come up to me and start talking about what's wrong with the church. This is what gave birth to me. This is what loved me when nobody did. This is what carried me when I couldn't walk. This is what I love the church. We doubled our square footage. We were so blessed. And we had this big old wall, straight hallway upstairs with all the Sunday school classes down it. And I was probably not a very good pastor because I couldn't remember all those classes in order. The junior, beginner, primary, I didn't know how those go. Now, nursery's first, I got that one. The golden oldies is last, but in between, go to the one where they look like you. That's all I know to tell you. I couldn't get all those things in order. All I know is it was like an eternal row of classrooms, and we had discipleship and our deaf ministry class and all these, just a whole row of them up there. And I went to my Bishop Dewes, who's now in heaven, and I told him, I said, Bishop, I wish we just had one more. We're one class short. He said, really, what else do we need? I said, I just wish we had one more class with a sign outside it that says negative people. Just one. With a door that locks from the outside. Right? Every pastor's wanting to shout right now. They won't do it because you're watching, but we could just put all those people in there, lock the door, and just leave till Jesus comes, and probably for 7 years thereafter. And let them whine and cry and talk about what's bad with the church and all they don't like and what's wrong. But there's some of us that I was glad when they said to me, let's go. There's some of us that say this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. This is the greatest group of people I ever met. I love the church. I'm going to go on record. You can't run me off from the church. You can't treat me bad enough to make me leave. I don't care what happens. I'm here to stay. I love the church. I'll go one step beyond that. I need the church. I'm not going to heaven without the church. I'm going to heaven sitting on my couch with some prostituted pulpit over the TV claiming to be my pastor. I need the church. My marriage needs the church. My kids need the church. My finances need the church. My soul needs the church. If I want to go up in the rapture of the church, I'm going to have to be in church. But between here and that day, we depend on one another. Yes, it is absolutely true that at the end of my days, I must have worked out my own salvation in the fear of God. When I kneel before Him, trembling in the light of His radiant glory, every excuse is going to dry up in my mouth. And I will answer for myself. So yes, I am ultimately responsible for my eternity. But it is also true that no one is an island. We are not independent. We are interdependent. Look around this room and you will see those people on whom you depend to get to heaven. And you will see people who are counting on you for them to get to heaven. And that's the point I want to arrive at tonight. We are accountable for each other. There is an incredible responsibility that rests on this good man and his lovely wife. It is profound and it is immeasurably heavy. And it is something that I can guarantee you cannot be grasped by anybody that has not felt its weight. To know that one day you're going to stand before God and give an account for how you handle the spiritual well-being of a group of people that He died for. I mean, that'll keep you awake at night. And it is why, don't listen, it is why you ought to be very careful about ever putting your tongue against your pastor. Let me say this in English. You better be double quick careful about criticizing your pastor for some decision he made when you don't know the reasons why, and you don't know the midnights he laid on his face praying about it. Amen myself. But I want to broaden the focus just a little bit this evening, because He is not the only one that is responsible to get you to heaven. You remember this church, son? Are you from here? Awesome. That good man right there is going to do everything he can to get you to heaven. If you'll tuck yourself underneath his wing and trust him and submit to him when you don't understand, he will lead you there. But as much as I think of him, he's not the only one responsible to get you to heaven. You want to know who else is responsible to get this young man to heaven? You are, and she is, and he is, and she is, and he is. And everybody who's got the name by the name of Christ has been born again of water and spirit and is expected to do what you need to do to help that man go to heaven. Some years ago, you helped bear the weight of getting everybody in this church to heaven. Several years ago, my family and I spent a Christmas. All the rest of our extended family had other plans to go elsewhere, so we thought, where have we never seen? We had never been to San Francisco, so we went to Frisco for Christmas week. We drove that week up across the Golden Gate Bridge and up through Sausalito and into Muir Woods, which is one of the redwood groves in California. Now, I just want you to understand something tonight. If you have never been there to see the redwoods, no pictures do them justice. There's not a National Geographic video on YouTube that will help you understand what these trees are like. 300 feet tall. They're just incredible. You have to see it in good shape. So we're there in the forest. Now, I grew up in the Midwest. I lived in Missouri, grew up in Illinois. And I just happen to know, don't ask me why I know it, it's one of those strange factoids that resides in my otherwise empty head. That the trees that we have there, the oaks, the elms, the maples, all those hardwoods of the Midwest, on average now, it can vary, but on average, the roots go down as deep as the tree is tall. If it's a 30-foot maple, on average, the roots will go down 30 feet. You got an old, mature 80-foot oak, those roots reach down about 80 feet. On average, there's as much wood beneath the ground as there is above the ground. When I saw those redwoods, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Wow! Whoa! 300-foot roots, right? So we're walking through the forest and we come on this sign that's been put out by the forestry department or the conservation department or the, don't ask me why, but the branch of our government that's responsible for all the outdoors is called the Department of the Interior. It really is. So maybe the Department of the Interior put this in the exterior, I don't know. They had a sign, and the sign said, and I quote, "The roots of the average redwood go down 3 feet." No. I need the two of you to help me. Would you just stand right here? Just eat stop here. I'll be with you there. I'm like, that's not possible. I'm not as dumb as I look, which is probably also not possible. I've studied Newtonian physics in college. I've studied kinematics, the law of forces. I understand how it works. You've got coastal winds blowing on the limbs of a tree that's 300 foot tall. That thing's a lever with a 300 foot long lever, and the fulcrum's at the point of the ground. Ain't no way 3 foot roots are going to hold that up. So I thought, typo, decimal error. They meant to say 300. It's a typo. Now, pray for my wife, because I went looking for a park ranger to report the typo on their son. I so wish I was kidding about that. I really did. I said, somebody's got to alert them. They've got fake news, you know, before it was even popular on this sign. Somebody's got to help them. And so I went walking, and sure enough, and down the way I see a park ranger down there feeding Yogi and Boo Boo or doing whatever he was doing down there. And I just went down to him. I said, hey, sir, I don't mean to point. I'm not one to criticize, but I figured you want to know that sign up around the corner up there has got a typo on it. He said, it does? Yes. It's state, I'm sure. It says that the roots of these trees only go 3 foot deep. He said, that's correct. I can't be correct. They would not stand up. He said, did you read the rest of the sign? There was more. He said the roots, step apart just a little. He said the roots of the average redwood only go down 3 feet, but they go out up to a mile. And in that mile, they find the roots of the next redwood, and they find the roots of the next redwood, and they tie themselves together. He said, sir, the wind never blows on one tree, it blows on the whole forest. And since it can't knock down the forest, it can't knock down the said, you will not understand this exactly, but I'm going to preach the hair off that. He said, well, then let me help you a little further. He said, there have been trees out in that forest that we thought were dead. They hadn't shown signs of life in years. He said, if it had been up to us, we'd have cut them down. But their neighbors would not give up on them. He said, sure enough, one spring, a little green leaf came out on the end of the limb. He said, if you went out there now and saw it, you'd never know it was sick. You'd never know it was weak. You'd never know it struggled. He knows the neighbors. Come on, church, when somebody's struggling, don't cut them down. Hold on to them. When somebody's weak, don't get on social media and cut them down. Hold on to them. On one Sunday morning, there'll be a little green leaf of worship that begins to come up, and life will come back, and you'll never know they were ever weak. They're obligated for one another. I can do nothing that might hinder that young man on his way to heaven, even if it means depriving myself of my rights. And I must do everything I can do to get him to heaven, even if it means sacrificing beyond what is comfortable or beyond what some might call reasonable. They taught me in Bible school you should always get to your text. Probably should. That was just kind of the longest, loudest introduction you've ever heard. Please do not fret that the message is not of commensurate length with the length of the introduction. Even people who know hardly anything about the Bible are at least familiar with the concept of the Ten Commandments. If nothing else, they are aware of the legal battles which have surrounded their display in public venues around the country. This concise expression of God's moral code is known as the Decalogue. And I have known all my grown-up life in church that it's found in two places in Scripture. That if you want to read the Ten Commandments, you can read it when God gave them to Moses, or you can read them the second time when Moses read it to Israel again before his departure. God made it easy for us. They're found in Exodus 20, that's 10 times 2. And they're found in Deuteronomy 5, that's 10 divided by 2. Can't handle that? Use your phone. But I've known all my life, Sunday school, youth group, Bible school. Two places. Ten Commandments are two places. Exodus 20, Deuteronomy 5. Always known that. Oh, there's certainly all kinds of verses all through the Bible that reinforce these truths. But if you want to see a list of them, you find them in Exodus 20, Deuteronomy 5. I've always known that was true until recently. Here a while back, I was reading in the book of Leviticus. You remember Leviticus, don't you? The book that has killed many a bread chart. Brother Burns, so good to see you, sir. I do believe probably that Leviticus has broken more New Year's resolutions than Krispy Kreme has. That's my guess. I was reading, and it's a shame because it's got some good stuff in it. I was reading through there, and I got to Leviticus. Now, don't all you preachers grab your Bible, start looking right now. I got to Leviticus 19. And much to my amazement, I discovered there's a third listing of the Ten Commandments in Leviticus 19. Now, some of them are phrased a little differently. They're in a different order. But there's no debating that they're there. I'm going to just take them a whirlwind tour, and they're not going to be on the screen. Just follow me here real quick. Commandment number 1, I am the God that brought thee out of Egypt. Thou shalt know the gods before me, right? Here's Leviticus 19, 36 and 37. I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. You shall observe all my statutes, my judgments, to do them. I am the Lord. Commandment number 2 in Exodus, don't graven images. Here's Leviticus 19 and 4. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make yourself molten gods. Commandment number 3 is about don't take his name in vain. Here's Leviticus 19, verse 12. Ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. Commandment number 4 is about the Sabbath. Leviticus 19 and 3. Keep my Sabbaths. Now, along about there, I went, wow. I printed out Exodus 20. I printed out Leviticus 19. I started drawing lines. There's number 1, there's 2, there's 3. Okay, look, there's number 4. Commandment number 5, honor your father and your mother. Here's Leviticus 19 and 3. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father. I'll just offer you this. When it says honor, dad comes first. When it says fear, mom comes first. Just point that out. I don't know what that means, but I'll throw it out there. Some of you kids might take observance of that. But there's a commandment number 6 is don't kill, right? Here's Leviticus 19 and 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Remember when Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount, he said, you heard don't kill, I tell you don't hate your brother in your heart. He didn't make that up on the spot. He pulled that out in Leviticus 19. Right. Right. Commandment number 7 is about adultery. Leviticus 19, 20, 29 talk about lying carnally with a woman. They talk about prostitutes and whores. Commandment number 8, don't steal. Leviticus 19, 11, you shall not steal. Commandment number 9, don't bear false witness against your neighbor. Leviticus 19, 11, 13, 16, neither shalt thou deal falsely, don't lie to one another. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor. Don't go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, and do not stand against the blood of thy neighbor. It's blowing my mind. Right. They're all just, there's 6 or 7. Okay, there's 8, there's number 9 there. Number 10, you remember, is thou shalt not covet. Don't covet your neighbor's house or his belongings or his livestock. So I'm looking all through Leviticus 19 and the word covet's not there. Well, that's strange. It hit me. There were no chapters there. It's probably the end of what we call 18 or the first part of what we call 20. That was a brilliant thought. Wrong. It's not there either. I used my high-dollar computer Bible software program. Searched the whole book of Leviticus. You know how many times the word covet occurs in Leviticus? 0. And I'm like, oh, God, you're messing up what was shaping up to be a pretty cool sermon. Why would it not be there? Why would he list the other 9 and not that one? Was it less a concern? Was it easier? Why? I thought, and I searched, and then finally, my dear brothers and sisters, in the last little bit we're together here, I found number 10 is in the corner. Leviticus 19, 9 and 10. And when you reap the harvest of your land, ye shall not wholly reap the corners of the field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave thee and watch for the poor and the stranger. I am the Lord your God. God said, when you don't reap your crops, well, that little part over in the corner that you can't get to, that's not yours. That belongs to the weak. That belongs to the broken. That belongs to the poor. Now watch, I'll get there. Coveting is when I look at something that is not mine and I want it. And God said, that grain in the corner of your field, that's not yours. I gave that to somebody that doesn't have any. I gave that to somebody that needs it. I gave that to somebody that's hungry. And if I look at what is theirs and want it myself, I am coveting. Don't worry. I'm not after your billfold. I ain't taking it off. Don't worry. This is what Ruth capitalized on. When she came back from Moab and gleaned in the field of Boaz, hey, dear brothers and sisters, Boaz does not get a pat on the back for letting her do that. He would have got thumped in the head if he hadn't. Because, listen, Ruth did not pick up grain that belonged to Boaz. Ruth picked up grain that belonged to Ruth. Because God had already said in Leviticus 19, Boaz, that's not yours. You leave that alone because it's there for somebody that doesn't have any. It's there for somebody whose field is barren. It's there for somebody that's weak and broken. And it may be inside your fences. You may have planted it. You may have watered it. But it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to her. And if any man had looked at what was in the corner of his field and said, I think I'll take that, he would have broken the 10th commandment against covenant. You say, does this have a point? I'm about to make it. I am fully convinced that this is how the church works. Not everything in my worship field belongs to me. When I come in and start worshiping, I'm not not supposed to worship until I feel God. I'm supposed to worship until somebody else. I'm not supposed to sing till I have victory. I'm supposed to sing till somebody is hungry and they have a song of their own has victory. I'm not supposed to shout until I feel good. I'm supposed to shout until somebody else does. I don't pray until my family is saved. I pray until your family is saved. I don't worship until I'm ready for heaven. I worship until the cocaine addict that came in here for the first time. They're all in the night field and find something he needs. And if I look at that extra worship, say, I think I'll just keep that this week. I'm coveting what doesn't belong to me. Because God put that in my field so I could offer it up for somebody else. Church, you can't come walking into church on Sunday and just give God enough praise till you feel something. When you feel something, that's good, but then reach over in the corner of your field and say, here, I got a little something extra. And this is for somebody that doesn't have it today. Be seated, and I'm going to wrap up pretty quick here, but I'll make myself vulnerable. In our church where I was so privileged to be called pastor, I used to sit right there, front row of that seat. About 5-6 years ago, I went through one of the darkest seasons of my life. One of the hardest times pastoring. I wanted to quit. Couldn't feel anything. Hadn't felt God in weeks. You're the pastor. That's why. I was empty. Absolutely, I was empty. Go to that pulpit, try to preach. I was broken, hurt, betrayed, wounded, bleeding, dying in church. Came in that Sunday morning. Couldn't find God, couldn't feel God. Got to get up there and preach in a few minutes. I'm going to preach on hell because that's where I was living. And I'm trying to look at all around my field for one little blade of life. There's nothing, it's just dirt and dust. I'm dying. Their pastor is dying. Just about done. The Burns Lord. One of our founding members way back over here. Little Sister Granny Foster. Little Sister Foster don't weigh 79 pounds soaking wet with rocks in both apron pockets. Okay, she's little bit. She's been around since we started. I don't anyway say this, except to say it. She's old. Okay? She sneezes dust, that's all I'm saying, okay? That's all I'm saying. Cool and cobweb. She's an old one, okay? And she got up out of her seat. And she started for the front. I kind of looked over and thought, better hurry, I don't know how long that song is, you know? It'd be kind of embarrassing. Get right here and they quit singing. By the grace of God, she made it. She got right up here. She just cut loose. She gave it everything she had. It looked about like this. It was yesterday, Pastor, I remember. I ran as fast as my pudgy little self could get across that church, and I grabbed that little bony hand with those blue veins sticking out of it, and when I did, more Holy Ghost hit me than I had felt in the last 6 weeks. I started talking in tongues and dancing, and the shackles fell off of me. I jumped up in that pulpit and I preached with more anointing than I had felt in weeks. Well, why? She didn't do that because she needed it. She gave it before I did, and I ran over into the corner of her field, and I got what I needed to make. All I'm saying is you got to give a little extra. You got to push a little farther. You got to pray a little more. You got to be a little more faithful, because it's not just about what's going to get you to heaven. It's about what's going to get him there. examine myself in conduct and appearance, I might be saving a teenager who's watching me. It's not just about whether or not I can do it and go to heaven. If I do it, will he go to heaven? Pastor, I really think I can wear that and still be saved. But if you wear that, will she be saved? I'm going to amen myself in a minute. I gave 3 hand claps and 1 raised hand and a half a hallelujah. I think I'll make it to Wednesday. But how about the sinner on the end of the pew that's never felt the Holy Ghost before? Can you reach into the corner of your field and get a little something extra? So I'm broken and a weak and a weary life and find what they need is a church. When I come to service on a midweek Bible study night, after a long day at work, when my flesh would really just like to go home and relax, somebody might walk into my faithful field and find what they need to make it. Some young family that's trying to establish patterns for their life might look at my commitment with my wife. So I think that's how I want to live. A discouraged member of the flock, I come over into my field of commitment to find what they need. But when I feel like it's too much of God to ask me for my time, my finances, or my emotion, or my prayer, or my worship, I have to shake myself and say that extra part of it, that was never mine in the first place. That belongs to one of you. And if I keep it, I'm cheating you from what you need. I'll finish right here. My grandparents came to this country from Germany when they were, well, my grandmother was toddler, my grandpa was still in his mom's belly. They were from the old country. German is their native language. And they were Lutheran. Okay? I mean, you can imagine. They weren't just Lutheran, they were Lutheran. With a capital Luth. They got married in 1919. In the early 20s, they were living just across the river from St. Louis, outside a little town called Belleville, Illinois. In the early 20s, my grandmother developed an ear infection. I know today we go, I get some of that little pink tasted bubblegum flavored liquid penicillin stuff, or whatever it is, amoxicillin. Should be fine. Didn't have it. An ear infection can be quite serious because of the proximity to the brain. They tried all the home remedies, weeks went by, she was getting worse. In the early 20s in Belleville, there was what became known as the Christ Revival. It was an apostolic revival happening in Belleville. And they advertised one night they were having a healing service. My grandpa and grandma didn't really even believe in that. But they were desperate. So they went. They sat in the back. I would love to tell you that night lightning struck from the heavens. My grandmother was instantly healed, started talking in tongues. It didn't happen. That didn't happen. I wish I could tell you. They sat way in the back with eyes wide. These people are crazy. But out of respect, they didn't leave. They didn't join in either. At the close of service, I've not even been able, I've searched, I can't even find out who was running that revival and who was that night, I don't know. But I do know that night at the close of service, whoever was in charge reached out to a gentleman, an old elder in Illinois that became iconic in the United Pentecostal Church in Illinois, Brother Underwood, old Brother Underwood. Brother Underwood was pastor of the church in Belleville area, and he asked Brother Underwood to come up and pray the dismissal prayer after all. When everything's settled down, you know how it is. It's all raw. He gets out. My dear family of God, I will have to confess, my life has never been profoundly spiritually impacted by a dismissal prayer. If that has been a high water mark for you in your walk with God, I honor you. But most of the time, right, it's just Lord takes our separate place and goes, brings us back to the corner hour. God bless Wendy's. Amen. Brother Underwood took the mic that night. He started praying. And he didn't just pray a couple of ears of corn that he had in his hip pocket. He was reaching over the corner. And I don't know where praying stopped, preaching started. I don't know where preaching stopped and prophesying started. I only know that halfway through it, my grandfather turned around to my grandma. He said, I don't know who that man is, but we're going to his church. And that, my dear brothers and sisters, is how Pentecost came to me. Because one old man said, I'm not just going to give what I have to give. I'm going to give a little something extra. These hands baptized my kids in Jesus' name because an elder gave the corner of his field. I'm preaching tonight in Farmington, New Mexico at a beautiful building dedication for my precious friend. And the only reason I'm here is because an old elder stood up in the pulpit and said, it's not about what I have to give, it's about what I can give. And the corner of his field became the seedbed of an apostolic revival in my family that has now reached down for 4 generations. How can we best honor this beautiful place that's been built? Come in here and give the corners your field. Pastor calls for 15 minutes of prayer before service. Come in 20. When it becomes easy to clap twice and raise your hands and mutter a couple of hallelujahs, put them back up and give a little more. Because I'm telling you, somewhere in the house, in fact, somewhere in the house right here tonight, in the middle of this celebration, there are folks whose lives are empty and broken, and you can make the difference in what you give tonight. So I know it's a different night. Maybe we'll close this just a little different, but I know you're standing for a while. I'm sorry, Pastor. I just wonder sometimes if maybe we do altar services backwards. Because what we do is say, now anybody that's hungry, anybody that's broken, anybody that's weak and weary, come on up to the altar. And then once they come, we hope that somebody will come up behind and bring some. I wonder if maybe what we all got to say, who's got some extra tonight? And we invite those people to come. And they start lifting up the corners of their field, and then there's this buffet up here. And then we say, who's empty, hungry, and hurting? Come on, look what's here, look what's here, look what's here. So I don't know, it's a different night. Maybe we can do something different. I just wonder tonight if there's anybody here that's got a little extra. I just wonder if there's some folks that just want to come up front and say, you know what, I haven't given all my worship when the choir was singing, I got a little extra.